everyone, it's Misty here. Welcome to weeks, I think 11 through 13 keto update. If you're new here, my name is Misty. I've been on a ketogenic way of eating since March 6, 2017. I weighed in at 425 pounds. I weighed in the month of May at 405 pounds. Now I do have a June weigh-in video, so if you want to pause here and go watch that before I spoil it here, feel free. But I weighed in for the first week of June at 411 pounds. So I had an increase of 6 pounds. And I talk a little bit more about the increase in that video. So if you want to head over there and listen to that. But the last 3 weeks have been emotionally draining and stressful and just everything. So I want to get some things out of the way before I go into it too much. I get a lot of comments about, it's my electrolytes causing the muscle weakness. It's not. So you guys can really chill with those comments. This muscle weakness started 5 months before I even thought about going on keto. So it's not related, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. And also, I'm not on statins. I don't have cholesterol issues. I don't have high blood pressure. I do take a lisinopril. The smallest dose, my endocrinologist swears it's good for kidney health for diabetics, so I take that. But so it's not anything medicinal, as far as like any medications or anything like that. So I do appreciate your concern, and I do appreciate that some of you are trying to be sleuths like me to figure out what's going on. But it's not related to either of those things. So the last 3 weeks, like I mentioned, have been kind of rough. I've gone off plan 3 times in the last 3 weeks. 4 times in the last 3 weeks. So, yeah, I've struggled with emotional eating for the last probably 10, maybe 12 years. Before then, I wasn't much of an emotional eater. But over the last kind of decade or so, it's really gotten me to where I am today. Let's just say that. So, but the first couple of months of keto, I was doing really well. But the last year of my life has been the most stress that I've ever really dealt with. For those of you who don't know or you're new, July I had a skin cancer scare. August I had my gallbladder out. September I started having nodules on my thyroid. October I had this muscle weakness. November was revisiting the thyroid. December and January was dealing with this muscle weakness, and then I had a irritated nerve in my lower back and a pinched nerve and permanent nerve damage in my neck. I spent the whole entire months of March and then April thinking I had, ALS or muscular dystrophy or something like that, and it's just been one thing after another. So some of the weight gain, I'm pretty sure, is still residual weight gain from my period. I mentioned that in a video. This was my very first period of any, I had one about 6 months after my ablation, and my ablation was almost 4 years ago. But that was like a little bit of spotting, didn't last more than a day. It was nothing compared to what I just went through, which was a week of hell. I will try not to go into too much detail about that, but if you're a woman and you've had heavy and hard periods, you know where I'm coming from. And I know that sometimes those types of cycles are caused by insulin resistance, and that's what keto does. It heals insulin resistance. So that's why people with PCOS and those kinds of things have such good results with this type of way of eating, because it heals that insulin resistance. And I really think it's the reason why I started. So I have a gynecological appointment next week to discuss go ahead and having a hysterectomy. I wanted to have one a few years back, and that's a whole other story I believe it's in one of my videos that are on this channel about the botched hysterectomy and all of that bullshit that I went through with that. So yeah, so during that week, I want to say I did really well during that week. It's the weeks after that I've had some issues. So last week I went to the rheumatologist on Wednesday, and she completely thinks that I have something neurologically wrong with me. She did run blood work, but she said that my symptoms really only match one autoimmune disorder, and she thinks that would be a really long shot. She didn't even schedule a follow-up appointment. She did blood work and was basically like, she's like, do you want me to call you? I said, call me if it's bad. I said, but if I don't hear from you, I'm just going to assume that there's nothing wrong with me and I'm going to go on about my day. And she said, okay. So then I had a consult scheduled on Friday with a neurologist from Columbia University. I believe that's in New York. There's this program that my husband's insurance is now a part of called Second MD. And basically, sorry, Roxy's got a bell on her collar, so I don't lock her in the closet again. Anyways, you send in your symptoms and what you've gone through, and then they connect you to a nurse, and then that nurse connects you with a specialist in that field at any of the big kind of research hospitals. So like the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, Columbia, those kinds of things. So I had a phone consultation on Friday with a neurologist, and she seems to think that I have myopathy, and I tend to agree with her. So I was pretty pissed off about that phone call because I had to sign a release for records. I had to basically list everything that I had done over since October for this muscle weakness, including like the nerve conduction studies that I'd done, all of that. And well, she didn't have those results. And I was like, ugh. So she really couldn't tell me more. She's like, I haven't seen the results. She's like, but I feel confident that you need to see a neurologist who subspecializes in a neuromuscular disease. And I said, okay. She said, I think you need to have a thigh MRI. And she said, if that's inconclusive, then you're going to have a thigh biopsy, which is a muscle biopsy in your thigh, which sounds like so much fun. She recommended that I have the nerve conduction studies again, but this time with a neurologist rather than a sports medicine doctor. And I'm just like, but I don't want to. But I'm like, maybe if they will like give me some local anesthetic or something, just something that I can, relax me so it doesn't hurt as badly. But at this point, to the point where I'm like, just put me in the hospital and run every flippin' test known to man that we haven't ran, and let's see if we can find out what the crap is wrong with me, because this just gets worse every week. Every time I think that I may feel a little better or something, I don't. And it's getting to the point where just basic care for myself is getting completely. Like, I put on makeup today. It took me an hour and a half to put on makeup today because I have to rest. I can't hold, like, putting on eyeshadow or doing my eyebrows or just putting on foundation, just like holding my arms up for this long. That's about as long as I can do it. So it's really frustrating and it drives me crazy. And I hung up the phone with her and I was just pissed. I was just so mad that I went through all this pain not pain, but like I was painstakingly accurate in what was wrong with me, and everywhere I'd been, getting addresses and phone numbers and fax numbers and signing consent forms for her to get the records, and she didn't get them. So I hung up the phone with her, and in that moment, I either needed to binge or get drunk. And since I was at work and alcohol is frowned upon, I ordered an entire large pizza from Pizza Hut and I ate the whole damn thing. It was thin crust, so maybe that'll account for a little bit. But I felt horrible eating it. I felt horrible after eating it. But in that moment where I felt completely out of control, I controlled the one thing that went in my mouth. And that's the only thing I had control over that day. And I felt horrible. all day. Actually, I felt horrible all weekend because, of course, that drove my sugar way up. And actually, when I only went up to like 225, which is a miracle in America. But, I had to drink so much water. It took me probably 2 full days to get where I felt like I wasn't thirsty from the carbs. I'm sure that's what helped elevate my weight and those kinds of things. So Rob was like, is that the right thing to do? And I'm like, well, it was either food or alcohol. And food was the main choice this time. So I hate that these things happen when I'm not scheduled to see it's like I had therapy earlier in the week. This was on Friday. I'm not scheduled to see my therapist until this Thursday. So it's just like, ugh. But I don't know. That's the only explanation I have. It's like I'm not gonna give excuses and go like, oh well, I didn't have to have it. I was gonna have a salad. I had brought a salad for lunch that day, and then I was just like, I don't want a salad. I want some serotonin in my life. So I'm gonna eat some goddamn carbs, and I'm gonna enjoy them. And I did kinda, and then I was over it. So, yeah. So that's part of the weight gain. Then we went to Applebee's to eat lunch on Saturday, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna start all over and be fine. And I posted my lunch on Instagram. I had grilled shrimp, grilled chicken, and then some broccoli and green beans. Really, really good. But I didn't post a picture of my appetizer that Rob and I split, which were cheese sticks. And I was like, why am I on such a cheese stick kick? I have no idea. So I bought some stuff to make my own keto version of cheese sticks, and hopefully that will help me. But so this is week 14. I'm about to start week 14. So in this journey, I feel like I did really, really well the first 2 months, March and April, which is crazy because April was probably the most stressful month for me because I thought I was dying. And I was doing everything I could to just stay positive and stay on track and eat what I needed to eat and hit my macros. And I was doing all that, and then I stopped. So my goal for the rest of this month specifically is to track my meals every single day. I intermittent fast, if you guys are new here, and I don't have like a set time. I'm trying to really eat to hunger. So I'm trying to eat intuitively. So like today, I went and got my nails done, went and got a pedicure because I'm off today. And so I didn't finish that until probably 12, maybe 12:30. And by then I felt hungry. So after that, I stopped and got a taco salad and ate that. And I still feel like I may be a little hungry, but I think that's probably more, excuse me, needing some water. So let me get a drink. Speak of the devil. So, sorry, this is long. So what I'm doing for the month of June, besides tracking, is I'm going to do my best to either film or photograph my meals for every week. So I'm going to do it probably Sunday through Saturday. This week it'll start Monday because I just did it today. And then try to post my meals either on Sunday or Monday. So I'll give you the whole entire week of what we ate, including macros for the day. And then kind of, if I could do like a week, how many calories or whatever. I don't know. Something to that effect. I kind of twofold to help those who are new to the way of eating kind of see how to do it, and then to give me some accountability because I feel like I need somebody else that's holding me accountable. I go see the endocrinologist tomorrow. Did I say that already? I can't remember. So after I see them and get my blood work back, I will do an official 3-month, keto update. So because since I started in a 5-week month and we've had a second 5-week month, I'm on week 14, but tomorrow will be my official 3-month ketoversary, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, so we are getting back to basics with just meat and a vegetable. So today we're going to split a ribeye, and then we're going to have some asparagus or green beans with it. Tomorrow we're going to be out of state. It's a 3.5-hour drive to my endocrinologist. So we have to get out of here about 6:30 in the morning, and we probably won't get to eat probably till 1 or 1:30. So I'll probably try to take some macadamia nuts with me if I get hungry. I bought some. I'm going to divide those up. And then we will stop probably. There's a Chili's or a Rib Crib, and that's really about the extent of places that we can eat. Chili's, I can do, chicken wings and a salad. Rib Crib, I could probably do a salad or something. So trying to think ahead, and then we may or may not eat dinner. I don't know. So yeah, so that's kind of my plan, is a meat and a vegetable. So I see the endocrinologist tomorrow. I go see my therapist on Thursday morning, and then I go see my regular doctor for a follow-up on Thursday morning as well. I mentioned that the neurologist feels like I may have myopathy, and after looking it up, I think there's one that's caused by your thyroid. And I'm wondering if those all aren't related, because I started having the thyroid issue in September, and I'd never had it before, ever. And then I started having this muscle weakness like in October. So within those 3 months or so, here's my thyroid acting up, and then here's this muscle weakness out of the blue. So I'm gonna look into that, because I agree with her. I don't think it's autoimmune. My rheumatologist doesn't seem to think it's autoimmune. I really do think that it's something that is neurological, and hopefully a subspecialist will help. So like I mentioned, it's she suggested, and actually my rheumatologist suggested a muscle biopsy, which they do in your thigh. And it's basically like a surgery. You go under general anesthesia, which means they put you out. They cut an opening in your thigh, and they cut a piece of muscle out, and then they test it, make sure there's no muscle breakdown, etc. So I think I'd much rather have another MRI, and I'd much rather have, I don't know, those nerve conduction studies were probably some of the worst pain I've ever felt. So we'll see. And it was I had such the hardest time convincing her that I'd had those studies. She's like, with the needle? I'm like, yes, lady, with the needle. It's like 4 inches long, 5 inches long. Went in it, and I was like, it's extremely painful. She's like, oh yeah, you did have it done. Yes, I did have it done. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what's coming out of my mouth, is to tell you that that's what I had done. So yeah. I'm doing my heart. So yeah. I'm not going to beat myself up about emotionally eating. I'm going to try to do a separate video talking about emotional eating and disordered eating, and that way I can put like a trigger warning on it and stuff like that, because I don't want anybody to have I don't want my videos to do any harm. So that will be a separate video. But I am now at the point where I can recognize when I'm going to want to emotionally eat, and I'm going to try to do something that focuses on it differently. So I'm going to start to journal. I've tried to start that probably every year of my life, but I haven't really stuck with it. But I found a journal that has prompts, and there's 52 lists. I think that's what it's called, 52 lists. I picked it up off of Amazon. Emily Noel, who is a beauty blogger here on YouTube, she mentioned it, and I went and looked at it on Amazon, and I thought, you know what? I think that'll be really good. So it's weekly journaling. So like the very first one is what makes you happy right now in this moment. And so I think that will help me with that. And then I may also just start blogging or journaling or vlogging when I feel like when I am out of control. Because that's when I tend to emotionally eat. It's when I have this feeling that nothing is in my control and I can't control anything, and I hate that feeling, and I hate being in that situation. So, yes. So this week, look for a 3-month keto update at some point. I'm going to do weekly weigh-ins for the month of June, and then I will have my 14-week keto update at the end of the week sometime. I'm trying to get a schedule set down for this channel. I know you guys haven't seen me in a while. I got sick again. That's another thing. I had influenza, not the keto flu. I had influenza. Probably A. I don't even remember. And then I also have been dealing with allergies. This year has been the worst for my allergies. And I think it's because May was so dry in Texas, and now June has been really wet. So even today, I feel like I'm going to lose my voice, and I've been dealing with a lot of drainage, etc. So, Jace. That's what's been going on. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm really trying to get these videos not to be quite so long, but I have a lot to say. I talk a lot. I want to make sure you guys are completely updated. So, yes. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any other questions, make sure you leave them down in the comments below. If you want to stick around to see if I can be successful at this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, click the bell beside it so you'll be notified every time I post a video. I'm going to do my best to try to get on a schedule. That's kind of my plan. I need to update my channel art. I need to do a lot of things to get this channel kind of flowing instead of it being so sporadic. But yeah, that's really about it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.